Greetings, beautiful souls. Welcome, Kendra. How are you? Would you like to say hello? Would you like to turn your camera on and unmute yourself? Say hello. Hello, Michelle. Would you like to say hello? Feel free to unmute yourself. Say hello to me. I always like to welcome the newcomers and new names and new faces. But if you're shy, that's okay too. But what I will get you to do is at the end of the talk, if you do have any questions, please unmute yourself, turn your camera on, and I want you to ask your questions face to face because I feed off your faces. So stick around to the end because there is a Q&A at the end of the presentation and we'll get started. So I just want you to know that I am a doctor of Chinese medicine. My name is Dr. Fiona Tassoni and I am a doctor specializing in fertility, and we're going to be talking about your egg quality and how we can improve egg quality and boost fertility naturally. So let's talk all about your eggs. Now, unlike men, whose sperm is literally produced every 74 to 90 days, women are born with around, 2 million eggs, about 1 to 2 million eggs, yet only 300 to 500 will ever be ovulated in their lifetime. So what we do know is that when you start your periods, we call this menarche. This is the beginning of your periods. We have around 500,000 eggs. And then as we approach perimenopause, we still have around 10,000 eggs. And then even in menopause, our ovaries contain a few thousand eggs. So I think the biggest takeaway that I want you to know from today is that we never run out of eggs. And now this is a belief that we're depleting this finite supply of eggs. It's been challenged also by science over the past 20 years. So if we look at the research shows that ovarian stem cells may exist, meaning that our eggs might not be as limited as we once thought. Okay, so in fact, I was looking at all the research and there's about 80 research papers have documented the presence of ovarian stem cells, and 12 of these studies have been conducted on the human ovary. So this raises a really important question. Is it possible that our bodies can regenerate new eggs? So one of the most influential researchers in the field of ovarian biology, his name is Dr. Jonathan Tilley. He's a molecular biologist and a reproductive scientist, and he spent decades studying the ovarian stem cells. And this is, known as postnatal oogenesis. This is the idea that new eggs can be created after you're born, because we're mostly born with the idea that we were born with all the eggs we're going to ovulate. So, he's a professor and chair at the Department of Biology in Northeastern University. Now, Dr. Tilley's research has been at the forefront of redefining female fertility, and his groundbreaking studies have challenged the long-held belief that women are born with a fixed number of eggs. So this was back in 2004. His lab, they published some findings suggesting that ovarian stem cells exist in adult human ovaries, which is pretty exciting. And then building on these findings in 2012, Dr. Tilley and his colleagues isolated similar egg-producing stem cells from the human ovaries, and they've demonstrated that these cells can develop into oocytes in vitro. So, there's some ethical and technical constraints around all of this information, clearly, because of these lab-generated human oocytes has not been conclusively established, and it's still very experimental. So clearly further research is fully needed to understand the potential and safety of these approaches for treating infertility. But I guess this is really, challenging this unlimited supply. Does it mean that we can generate an unlimited supply of eggs? And, I guess the answer is we don't know yet. But what it does mean is that there's more to the story. And even if you look at how I've told you, literally, we don't actually ever run out of eggs. So this is a myth that you're getting told, by the establishment and big pharma. And so, sometimes when you're walking into the offices of the IVF clinics, and it's not that I'm anti-IVF, but you want to walk into it informed and know you don't run out of eggs ever. I think that's the biggest takeaway. And, basically, if we look at what actually does affect your egg quality, Yes, we've got age playing a factor. Yes, that's clearly obvious. But there are many things that influence your ovary function. And so let's break it down, because we can start to address these other things. You know, we can't change your age, but we can start to address the other influences that affect your ovarian function. So this is chronic stress. This is you know, big one, chronic stress. Endocrine disruptors, these are your EDCs, and we've talked about these a lot in a lot of the live streams that I've done. You know, your bisphenols, your phthalates, your forever chemicals. You know, this is in your non-stick cookware, your parabens, pesticides, herbicides, heavy metals, dioxins, PCBs. These are your endocrine disrupting chemicals. Now, other things that influence your ovarian function, you've got nutrient deficiencies. Now, I see a lot of this. This is the biggest thing that crosses my path, is nutrient deficiencies. I see a lot of iron deficiency, ferritin deficiency. And we need, like in Chinese medicine, blood is the mother of all things. We need to have iron stores and your ferritin stores to, to ovulate and to make good quality embryos. So if you've got nutrient deficiencies, these are all picked up in your lab testing. So we want to be looking at your iron markers, your ferritin stores, your B vitamins, your CoQ10. All right. So we want to correct those nutrient deficiencies. Now, other factors that influence your egg quality, you could have immunological issues. Now, this can be chronic inflammation. It can be autoimmune diseases, NK. This is your natural killer cell overactivation. Now, we need some NK killer cells in the uterus for implantation, but it's when we have that overactivation of NK cells. So these are these immunological issues that we find. There can be histamine intolerances or chronic viral infections. So this is your Epstein-Barr, EBV, or Lyme disease, or even just leaky gut. All right. So underlying health conditions, you could have some of these. I'm seeing Hashimoto's, underactive thyroid, thyroiditis, hypothyroidism, or hyperthyroidism, an active thyroid. What else? Endometriosis. It could even be celiac. Now, all of these things influence your egg quality. In addition, it could be hormonal imbalances. So, the classic one is PCOS. It could also be estrogen dominance or low progesterone, toxic exposures. Now, this can be, you may have had drug use in the past. It could have been crystal methamphetamine. It could be excessive smoking, heroin abuse, and even just pollution, okay? There can be obesity and metabolic markers or disorders that, we need to address, like insulin resistance, diabetes, fatty liver, and you may have even had cancer. So you can see that there's a whole list. It's not just your age, all right? There's a massive list of things that we need to address. The great news, this is the great news, is that every single one of these factors can be addressed. Meaning your fertility is more malleable. Don't you love that word? Malleable than you think. So you can change the outcome, ladies. You can. So it can be improved. And the establishment will tell you it can't. But I'm telling you, I see it. And I've been working with it for over 20 years. And I see it every day. They tell me it can't be done. And I perform miracles day in, day out. All right. So the proof is in the experience, and I see it in clinical practice every day. So your eggs, I think the takeaway is your eggs, they don't develop overnight. The process of follicular development, it takes 90 days, okay? So that means that the choices you make today is going to impact your egg quality 3 months from now, okay? So I think from today, your most powerful tool is in your hands. And this is your food and your nutrition. Okay, so let's look at the food and nutrition for healthy eggs. What is it? So if you look at, your ovaries, they have the highest concentration of mitochondria, okay, of any organ in the body. Now, yes, this is true. Now, this is more than your brain, your heart, and your muscles, okay? So mitochondria, this is the buzzword for today, the mitochondria. We want to feed the mitochondria. And, the mitochondria is the power plant of your cells. So they turn the food you eat, into ATP. This is energy, which is essential for your egg quality, for your, your egg development, your DNA repair. So this is why, when you're going into your fertility clinics, and even whoever you're seeing, naturopaths, we're all working on the mitochondria. Okay, so we want to feed it with a nutrient-rich supply of foods, okay, because that way, and even with supplements, because healthy mitochondria equals healthy eggs. I'll say that again: healthy mitochondria equals healthy eggs. Healthy mitochondria equals healthy eggs. So, how do we fuel the mitochondria? Well, it's really quite simple. I'm going to break it down so it's really simple for you to remember. Protein, carbs, fats. All right, that's the macronutrient breakdown for your mitochondria to support your mitochondria health, your hormone balance, your optimal ovarian function. So, protein, we want about 30% of protein. We want about 30% of carbs in your non-starchy vegetables. And then we want 40% of your healthy fats. So, let's break it down. So protein, it's literally the building blocks of your mitochondrial energy. So it's an amino acid, it protects the mitochondria and it fuels the ovarian function. So it contains carnitine, it helps transport the fatty acids into the mitochondria for energy. We're aiming for about at least 80 to 100 grams of protein per day. So that's like literally, if you're doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's like at least 30 grams of protein with each meal. And the best sources, so meat, fish, eggs, nuts, seeds, beans, chickpeas, lentils. It's really simple when you break it down. I like to use food as medicine because you're in control of what's on your plate. If we're looking at your carbohydrates and your non-starchy vegetables, so this is 30%, it fuels the fiber and the hormonal health. It helps stabilize your blood sugar. It provides the fiber for your gut health, which this is all going to help boost your egg quality. So if we look at, fertility carb-friendly sources, if we look at whole grains, buckwheat, quinoa, oats, rice, chickpeas, lentils. And then if we look at the veggie sources, so broccoli and kale and cabbage, these are all your non-starchy veggies, cauliflower, zucchini, sprouts, leafy greens, onions and peppers. All right, it's quite simple, isn't it? And then 40% of your fats. So this is the mitochondria's preferred fuel. And, if you think about what fats do, fats reduce inflammation, fats help you ovulate, fats support the ovarian function, and they protect the mitochondria. It's all about that protection, isn't it? So we want to have 2 to 3 servings of fat. So, we just want to have the macronutrient breakdown on your plate. So if you're looking at your plate, you can go, where's the protein? Where's the carbs? Fat. Where's my fat source? So the best sources, nuts and seeds. So if you're looking at, walnuts, they're great for egg quality, almonds, sunflower, this is the seed cycling. Your flax seeds, your pumpkin seeds, your sesame seeds, your sunflower seeds. Anyone that's worked with me in fertility coaching knows that I'm a big fan of your seed cycling. So nuts and seeds are in. What else? Yeah, almonds, but yeah, walnuts are great. They're also great for the sperm too. Fats and oils. So good sources of oils, olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, pumpkin seed oil. Now, it can be just like, let's have half an avocado a day. So it's really quite simple. Then we want to look at, antioxidants, because this is your egg's best defense. So if I'm going to break down protection from oxidative stress, 3 of the most powerful fertility enhancing antioxidants for your eggs: alpha-lipoic acid, ALA. It improves that energy production, mitochondrial repair. It also helps with DNA protection. So the food sources of ALA, we've got flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, pumpkin seed oil. You can take it in a supplement. We'll get to supplements, but I am focusing a lot on food. Your CoQ10, right? Your coenzyme Q10 protects the egg from age-related oxidative damage. It neutralizes free radicals. It protects the mitochondria. It reduces inflammation. So, we're seeing food sources of CoQ10. We see it in organ meats. We see it in fatty fish. We see it in nuts. And then glutathione. So glutathione, it is the master antioxidant. It's the master antioxidant for egg quality. You can actually get it in liposomal if you're going to do that topically, or you can do NAC. It's a precursor to glutathione. But if we're looking at, glutathione-rich foods, so, sulfur-rich vegetables, these are garlic, onions, shallots, leeks, and all your brassicas, so broccoli, cauliflower, kale. And then the cruciferous, this is the brassica family. They're rich in sulforaphane, so they're a glutathione booster. So this is, broccoli sprouts is my favorite number one for sulforaphane. So cruciferous vegetables, again, broccoli, kale, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, protein-rich sources of glutathione. So, if we look at eggs, wild-caught salmon, sardines, mackerel, grass-fed beef, chicken, turkey, and then, selenium-rich foods. So selenium it's required for glutathione activity. I love Brazil nuts. It's the best source of selenium. So 2 Brazil nuts a day. Brilliant. And then fermented foods to support gut health and glutathione absorption. So sauerkraut and kimchi and kefir or coconut yogurt. What else do we need for our eggs? So we're going to break down a few more concepts. Folate-rich foods. So we need this folate. This is your vitamin B9. This is essential for your DNA, your egg health. It's also, protective against, oxidative stress. So if we look at key ways folate supports egg quality, it helps with, cell division. So your eggs have to undergo rapid cell division. So folate's required to ensure that you get your proper chromosome formation and the risk of those genetic abnormalities. And it supports methylation. It protects against oxidative damage. So top folate foods. So, duck liver. I'm not sure if everyone's into any form of, beef liver, any form of liver, but duck liver. Other sources of glutathione. We've got, folate-rich food, we want duck liver, broccoli, mung beans, beets, what else? Asparagus, chickpeas. Remember food, top folate foods, food is medicine. Spinach and leafy greens, what else? Nuts and seeds. So again, coming back to, there's a lot of crossover with all this information. So just try and take out some of the things that you might be missing in the nutrition here that I'm talking about. And then in addition, we want to look at your liver. So your liver is on the right side of your body. Okay, your liver is so important because it helps affect your egg quality. So it plays a crucial role in how your body, your hormones, your detoxification pathways, your body's ability to absorb things, which is all directly related to your egg quality. So we want to make sure that you have a healthy, functioning liver. So that's why I often start with my patients with a liver detox before we actually actively start trying to make sure that the liver's working properly. Because the liver detoxifies, estrogen, hormonal waste. And if it isn't, it can then recycle it back into the body and lead to, estrogen dominance. So that means you've got poor egg quality, you might have irregular cycles, or you may even get like cystic ovaries. You can also then get, short luteal phase or implantation issues if your liver's not working properly. So we want to make sure your liver is really functioning well. So what are liver supportive foods? Already, we know from what I've spoken above, we know that cruciferous vegetables, with the glutathione and the detox pathway. So liver supporting foods, all your cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, sulfur rich foods. Okay, garlic, onions, leeks. See, crossover, I'm repeating myself a lot. So as long as you start getting these basic building blocks, but, if the liver's functioning well, it's then going to support your insulin, your blood sugar. And, if that's not working, it can then lead to insulin resistance. So then, this can affect, especially, if you've got PCOS. So we want to make sure that your blood sugar and you don't have any kind of insulin sensitivity. So then coming back, all those liver foods are in. Now, I get my patients to start the day with a tepid room temperature glass of water, squeeze of fresh lemon and apple cider vinegar. It helps, literally support the liver, and it helps regulate glucose metabolism. It works on those stomach acids. Okay, so it's like flushing the liver, but supporting your body and help regulating that glucose metabolism. It's really important. All right, the liver also filters out heavy metals, pesticides, plastics, toxins that can damage egg quality. So you can see that we need to be drinking a lot of water. I've been saying this every life. Glass is the new plastic. Drink plenty of water, filtered. Dandelion tea, it also supports the liver function, but it can be bitter greens, okay? So it's a healthy liver. I think that's a big thing for us when working with egg quality, for balancing hormones, clearing toxins, and just supporting it. Your egg quality really does rely on that liver function. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some cutting edge therapies for egg quality. There's all this emerging information, and it's always changing. All right, infrared and the LED light therapy, okay, because it works a lot on our hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. So it influences your hypothalamus, your pituitary gland, and your optic nerve, all of which regulate your hormones. So it's important that, if you haven't tried LED or, infrared, you can do this before egg retrieval to improve follicular development. You can do it between retrieval and transfer to support the uterine lining, but you can also do it for natural conception, to enhance ovarian blood flow and hormone signaling. So these are some awesome concepts to, jump on if you haven't tried. Acupuncture is another therapy, that I'm always doing acupuncture on all my patients. All right, acupuncture is great for the blood flow. It helps improve the ovarian function. It helps balance your hormones. It helps, drive that blood flow to the reproductive hormones, which is all essential for your egg health. So if you haven't tried acupuncture, you can do this before egg retrieval to support follicle growth, before implantation, and throughout the entire cycle. So people always say to me, when should I do acupuncture? And I'm like, it's throughout the entire. I get my patients to do it weekly, and I'll get them to book in for 12 months, okay? Because when we're working over 40, often it takes between 6 to 12 months. It's a slower burn. The older you are, the longer it takes. All right. Ideally, we want to fix things. It takes 3 months. Remember, what you do today, you won't see the benefit for 3 months. So, if I just start with you, right, it's going to be 3 months before we can actively start. So there's 6 months already. And sometimes it takes a few cycles, especially if repairing some of these, lifestyle factors and things, that I mentioned at the start of the talk, all the things that could be influencing your egg quality. If you've got chronic stress, if you've got inflammation, if you've got NK cells or, hormonal imbalances like PCOS, and if we have to fix things, it's going to take time. Okay. All right, let's look at some of the supplements, because I know that everyone's like, right, let's just, most of my patients, they're like, right, what can we take? What can we take? All right, so if I'm thinking about, I want to just break it down into the top things, because I wanted to go less is best. I could spend a whole live stream on talking about what supplements, but if we're just looking at, the top maybe 5 or 6. So CoQ10, clearly, if you're doing IVF, and any fertility specialist, any doctor, even doctor of Chinese medicine, nutritionist, a naturopath, we're all going to be talking about CoQ10. So, you want to be taking your CoQ10 or your ubiquinol in addition to your preconception multivitamin, your N-acetylcysteine, your NAC, because it boosts the glutathione, it protects the egg DNA, and it certainly improves, ovulation if you do have PCOS. If you're, alpha lipoic acid, we mentioned all the food sources, but if you want to take around 300 to 600 milligrams daily of that, it reduces inflammation, has been shown in IVF studies to improve outcomes in aging women. All right, resveratrol, okay, about 500 milligrams daily of that. And then we've got, the NR, nicotinamide riboside. This is your true Niagen, about 250 to 500 milligrams of that. It could be NMN. This is the nicotinamide mononucleotide, 250 to 300 milligrams of that. Now, The NR and the NMN, okay, just know that they are precursors to NAD. So you don't need to be taking, if you're taking NAD, you don't need to be taking NMN or NR, you know, so, and vice versa. If you're taking NR and NMN, you don't need to be taking NAD, okay? So NR and NMN are the precursors to NAD, meaning that they are converted to the NAD plus within the cells. All right, so just so you know, these are just my top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those top 6 things for egg quality. They'd be the things that I'd be looking at. Now, in addition, clearly you'd be, looking at folate. That's in your preconception multi. We want about 400 micrograms of activated folate. It's really important, ladies, that you're taking the activated folate, not folic acid. We need vitamin D, vitamin E, zinc, selenium. All these things are usually in your preconception multi anyway. All right. Now, in addition, sometimes it's, I might be adding in DHEA. It can improve egg quality in women that have that diminished ovarian reserve, but it's best that you test it. So you don't just take DHEA, all right? You need to test it, and you test it with your free and total testosterone and your SHBG. We want to see that you actually do need it, because if you don't need it, if you're having too much DHEA, then it can affect your ability to ovulate, and it can shift very quickly. So DHEA is not for everybody, but it's something to think about for hormone and mitochondrial support. Omega-3s, clearly this is as important as your preconception multi. It increases blood flow to the reproductive organs, helps with cell division, reduces inflammation. Glutathione, so I tend to prescribe NAC, N-acetylcysteine, because it's a precursor to glutathione. But you can do liposomal or topical glutathione. It is the master antioxidant, as I've mentioned. It supports egg quality, DNA integrity, and embryo health. Melatonin, so this helps reduce oxidative stress, and it supports the oocyte maturation. So, and also great if you're not sleeping. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some nervous system and support for optimal egg health. So, as I mentioned, chronic stress is one of those things that can influence your egg quality. So, from today, I want to just give you a beautiful breathing exercise that I teach to my patients, because breathing techniques, they shift the body into a parasympathetic rest and nest state. And if you look at this process of, if you're dealing with egg quality and IVF failure or recurrent pregnancy failure or loss, or just it's not happening, then it does get stressful. So pranayama. So I want to introduce you today to Nadi Shodhana. It's called alternate nostril breathing. So I'll do mirror image, and literally what we're doing is we place the index finger, middle finger on your third eye. This point here connects to the heart, which is really important because it calms the mind, it helps with insomnia, it's a de-stressing point. And so we put these fingers here to activate this point, and then we're going to close off the nostril. So we occlude the nostril, the right nostril, and then inhale into that left side. Close it off, exhale through the right. Inhale right, close off the right, exhale through the left. Inhale the left side, close off the left, open the right, exhale through the right. And so what you're doing is you're doing this beautiful alternation, all right? And it oxygenates the brain and balances the right and left hemispheres of the brain. And it's literally, like I said, it's turning on that parasympathetic nervous system. Now, I find when you do this technique, it literally just relaxes the body. And it's great to do if you're stressed out, in a state of overwhelm, and you don't know what to do, because you literally can do it for a couple of minutes. Now, you can change size. You can do it to the left hand as well, but you alternate the breathing. So give it a go. The main thing when you're doing the alternate nostril breathing, if your sinuses are blocked, then you don't do it, all right? Because it then can create more stress in your body. So it's important that you can breathe through both nostrils evenly. Otherwise, if you do have blocked nostrils, I literally just get you to do some lower diaphragmatic breathing. So this is literally putting your hands on your belly, let the abdomen rise and fall with your breath. Okay. And what this does is it also triggers and turns on your parasympathetic nervous system. So if having difficulty breathing, all right, breathe in through your nose ideally, because the nose acts as a filter for the lungs. Breathe out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And make a ha sound. And that way it's connecting to the heart. All right. So that powerful breath work technique, it's a nice takeaway from today, because, it's going to balance your hormones. It's going to increase oxygenation. It's going to work on that HPO axis. So it's really working on your ovarian health. So when I conclude, ladies, I think there's one key message today. It's that you have the power to influence your egg quality. And how? Food and nutrition is number one. Yes, supplements are great, but they're called supplements because it's to supplement your diet in addition. Now, I just want you to remember that, for decades we've been told that our fertility is on a ticking time bomb and that we're running out of eggs. So, the emerging science is telling us that the story is far more complex. And you can see that, even in menopause, we still have eggs left. So you don't actually run out of eggs. Your eggs are dynamic and they're responsive to your environment, which is influenced, by the choices that you make every day. So I think, today you can the takeaway is, your fertility is not just about your age. It's about your environment. It's about your choices. It's about your ability to support these natural processes. And you can do this. So whether you're preparing for pregnancy now or in the future, I just want you to know that you're not powerless, that you can take action today to optimize your egg health and improve your chances of conception. So, ladies, thank you for being here today, for investing in your fertility, for believing in your body's incredible ability to create life. I'm going to open up the Q&A. So if anyone would like to unmute or put their camera on, ask me a question by all means. Are there any questions? Esther, hello.
Hi, good to meet you.
Lovely to meet you, Esther. Hi.
Thank you. I had a question around AMH. So, they always say you have low AMH and therefore there's no point even, trying or whatever.
Yes.
Are there supplements? Does medicine, does that help, or is that a gone case?
Well, let me just break the AMH myth down for you. It's a relevant marker if you're doing IVF. Clearly, we need to know that marker. It's an IVF marker, right? And why is it? If you're doing IVF, we want to know what the AMH level is, because we want to know what medication to give you, what strength. All right. So it's really an IVF marker. If you are trying to conceive naturally, it's almost null and void, because if you're ovulating, right, we only want to ovulate 1 egg a month. We don't want to ovulate 15 eggs, do we? No. So as long as you're ovulating, right? Are you ovulating month after month? Are you having a regular period? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Are you wanting to conceive naturally? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So then you can throw that AMH marker away, because it is literally irrelevant. As long as you have a regular cycle and you're ovulating an egg a month, then we only need 1 egg for natural conception.
Right.
If it's IVF, it's a different story. All right. So, when you're doing IVF and the marker is low, it means you don't tend to respond too well to the ovulation stimulating drugs. So then they have to do a very, it might be a gentle protocol. They need to temper it in certain ways. All right. So that's when you need to, it's really an IVF protocol marker. So I think that's the big thing. And it stresses everyone out. So I'm like, do you know how many pregnancies I have had with an AMH marker of 0 or 0.1 or 0.03? All right? Many. More than 50. I'd say probably more than 100 over 24 years. Okay. So that's the biggest thing that when I'm on podcasts, I'm always talking about this AMH marker. It stresses women out. Does it stress you out, Esther? Are you stressed about that marker?
I mean, obviously, I don't understand entirely. Is it AMH mean that there are no eggs anymore, or that I'm not ovulating anymore, or is that
Yeah,
so? That's the
it's not a marker of your egg quality. Actually, there's no marker of your egg quality until you actually fertilize it and then do genetic testing on it. So the AMH marker is not a measure of your egg quality. It's not a measure of whether you're ovulating or not. That's where actually it's a case by case thing, right? And what I don't like is that women go into these doctors' surgeries and they're like, all right, okay, low AMH, off you go to IVF. And then I'm like, but they're not going to be great responders to IVF. So part of it is like, let's fix all of these things, like whether it's like low ferritin, is it nutrient, is it chronic stress? It's the environment, is there heavy metal toxicity? Like let's do a big tidy up. Remember, all of these things we can influence them. Right? You can actually fix the endocrine disruptors. You can deal with the chronic stress through breathing techniques. You can apply a lot of these nutritional practices like just protein, carbs, and fats, and have that macronutrient breakdown, have some antioxidants, a rainbow of color on your plate. It gets quite simple when you actually follow the process.
Right.
So if you look at it like this, if this is the pool of my, like this is my primordial pool, like imagine this is, the pool of my ovaries, my primordial pool of follicles, okay? And they don't undergo any change until they start to work in your internal environment. And that's a reflection of how you eat, how you sleep, your relationship issues, your toxicity that's around you. All of these things must be addressed. So once that little follicle starts to develop in that 90 days, what's the environment? Is the sleep right? Is the nutrition right? Is the hydration right? Have we done the tidy up of the cosmetics and all your chemicals? Have we done a detoxification protocol? Is my liver working well? So you can address all of it. So I think take the finger off the AMH marker and fix all the other things. And you'll find the AMH naturally can change. They say the marker doesn't change. Well, I've seen it change over and over again. It's another thing that gets too much is that AMH marker changes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. All right. Esther, do you want to say hello? Oh, sorry, Esther. Michelle, do you want to say hello? Do you want to ask me any questions? Is there any key takeaways from the talk?
Kendra's got her hand up.
Kendra. I think I just spoke to Kendra. Or was that Esther? Okay, Kendra.
That was Esther.
Oh, okay. Kendra, do you want to say hello? Just put your camera on. No, we've lost Esther.
Hi.
Oh, there we go.
You gave a rundown of a lot of different nutrients and supplements. Is that list somewhere that I can access?
No, but you're more than welcome to DM me if you're in my group. You're more than welcome, and I can. This is just a talk, so I'm just throwing off these ideas as if it was a case study, and I'm talking to a patient that has issues with egg quality. So, if you want to know what do you want to know, my darling? Like,
there was something you said around NAD.
Yeah.
But then I thought you said NAC or something like that. Was that different?
Yeah. So these are my top 6, supplements for egg quality. So CoQ10, N-acetylcysteine. This is your NAC. All right, because it boosts glutathione. And
NAC. Okay, that was one I wasn't clear what that was.
Okay, NAC. So remember, glutathione is the master antioxidant that protects your DNA and improves, ovulation, especially if you have PCOS. But N-acetylcysteine. All right, so there's NAC, and then we've got the NR, NMN, and NAD+. All right, so these are great, especially when we're over 40. Resveratrol is another one. All right, so you can take the NR and the NMN. They're precursors to NAD+. Okay, so they're like my top 6: CoQ10, NAC, alpha lipoic acid, ALA, resveratrol, NR, NMN.
Is this all in your book somewhere? I can't
I do
remember
talk
that.
a lot about most of these. I don't. My book, when my book was done, there were this NM and NMN, NR, and NAD plus. It's kind of so most of it is in my book. Yeah, you can look up in the supplement section. By all means.
Okay. And then your supplements that are behind you,
Yes.
what are those?
The supplement store. Yeah, I can send you. But can you drop a link to the supplement store in the inbox in the
Okay, one moment.
and you can have
And okay, and then you've mentioned liver meat, I thought. Did you say that?
liver. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Can I take a liver supplement?
You can, yeah, like beef liver capsules. I have a lot of my patients do that, especially when there's iron issues or
Okay, yeah, link is in the chat.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
There you go, Kendra.
Thanks.
Yeah, so
Okay.
if you don't like taking liver, yeah. Beef liver
So, but I should get tested on all this before I start taking all these things.
Sorry, say that again.
Should I get tested first, like do some blood work before taking all these things?
Testing is always good. Yeah, absolutely. So full blood examination. I'll be looking at your vitamin D, iron stores with ferritin, your thyroid panel, insulin. Yeah, like it's really good to actually have a baseline before you actually start supplementing. Because often you don't need it. But yeah, vitamin D, we need it. It's so key. And I find so many of my patients are really depleted. So if you're doing some functional testing, definitely do your vitamin D.
Okay. I try to get in the sun every day.
Sorry, say that again.
I try to get in the sun like in the morning.
Yeah, that's important. Like a lot of the time, try and do some sun gazing, looking at the sun when it's on the horizon, or get 20 minutes of sun exposure during the day, because it really is so important. It's better than taking a vitamin D supplement if you can
And it feels great.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's like it works on that, cortisol awakening response. So first thing in the morning, I'm always getting my patients to open the blinds and look at that direct sunlight because, we need to work on our cortisol. Yeah. We need to boost that in the morning.
And that helps, vitamin D helps your cortisol?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
It's your safe plan. It's your immune system. It's also a precursor to so many of your hormonal functions. So we need vitamin D for everything.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you. I'm excited.
Beautiful.
Right.
Ladies, thank you for joining me. I am running these talks weekly. So we've got some new faces this week, Michelle, Kendra, and Esther. So I'm sorry if I mixed your names up. I'm really sorry because your faces aren't on. So I tend to get confused with just names. But welcome. Yeah, this is a big sharing of, it's a women's circle. By all means, bring your husbands, but I find that tends to be more women on the calls. But you're more than welcome to bring hubbies along, and they're all welcome. So I will see you all again next week, same time, same place, and I wish you a sweet good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.